Hey, how's it going, guys? We are back with more reactions for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this time on to episode 8 of season 5. Last time we had pretty much the kind of like most of the team escaping. Daisy and Fitz and Simmons. I think they made it on board, and then May and Coulson went on board too. But then, thanks to the new kind of adoption of Flint under the kind of co-parent guidance of both Mac and Elena, they all the three of them stayed behind. I think Flint especially kind of felt like he kind of he felt more kind of responsible and obliged to actually try and use his powers to actually help the humans aboard the lighthouse and everything. So he stayed behind, and then Mac kind of swore an oath to keep him safe, so he stayed behind, and then Elena kind of mutually felt that, but then she also kind of felt partnered with Mac and wanted to stay behind to make sure he was safe and to actually help Flint as well, and also her being like an inhuman with powers. I think she kind of like, by default kind of feels like she can actually lend a hand in trying to help him understand his powers and helping him control them and everything. So she stayed behind. So those three are staying behind and are going to do their piece to try and help defend the humans from the Kree and everything. So that was cool. And Fitz actually did mention he left behind a crate of shield tech on the third floor. But then, as we were ever so eloquently reminded, the third floor, level 3, is actually where all the not the Krillitanes, those are from Doctor Who, the Vralnexians, the blood sucking, dehydrating, alien creatures that the Kree brought with them. Are for just level 3s infested with them, so they're gonna have a fun time trying to maneuver through them and trying to get to the shield tech and everything. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure we actually saw them. I think we in the rewind episode we actually saw Fitz loading up the actual crate with shield tech and with the shotgun axes also. So Max is gonna get his shotgun axe back and everything. So all sorts of weapons and tech in there for them to try and get to. And then once they do, they can actually take some Vralnexians out on the way too, and then go take the war to the Kree themselves. So that's cool. So I think the rest of them are actually prepared to actually kind of go back to the surface to try and catch up with May and everything. So that they've actually taken the trawler. They're taking the trawler out from under the earth to the surface and everything. So that's cool. And one thing I actually did, I think last time I might have been a bit confused about because of I might have been a bit confused about the origins of the lighthouse and how it's used now compared to what it was before. So I did actually kind of quickly hop back into the previous Fitz and Hunter episode, and I actually did rewatch one of those scenes where it's actually where Enoch takes Fitz and Hunter to the lighthouse, and it's literally a lighthouse. It's called the lighthouse because it's literally on the surface. On the surface there at the very least there was a lighthouse. No idea if it's still there now, but there was a lighthouse, and underneath was where the actual base was, with the exact same elevator from the surface to the actual base at the bottom as well. So it's been there for years, like even for years before whatever kind of Armageddon level event actually happened and everything. So it's been there for years. It's been functional. It's been just not used in the same way, but it's been functional. It's been spacious and vacant and everything. So the base was already there and everything. So I think that's where the lighthouse came from. But then Enoch actually said that why it was there and who made it and what the original purpose was, and all that kind of stuff was unknown even to him. Even he didn't know. He just knew it was there, and it was actually usable as like an actual shelter, and everything. That piece, and then I think a line I think I might have initially missed out on, or maybe just kind of forgot over time. Was actually him mentioning that usually they avoid any interference with future events or anything, any timeline events like that at all. And then Fitz obviously mentioned them sending the team into the future to interfere with stuff. And then he said exceptions are made in the event of an apocalypse level event that needs preventing. So the team was actually sent forward to prevent. There's that. But then they were sent forward to prevent it, but then they were sent forward into the future after the stuff's already happened. So then the apocalypse level event. I mean, that's kind of left me wondering, like, is the apocalypse level event then the Earth being destroyed? Like, are they meant to somehow go back in time and prevent that with new knowledge that they acquire, or are they then meant to? Maybe it's like, I mean, well, no, I think. No, I think he didn't even say apocalypse or Armageddon. I think he said extinction. I think he said extinction. So I think extinction would mean the human race dying out. Like Earth can be destroyed, but then if the human race dies out, then that's extinction. Like extinction is the end of all life. So humans are still alive, just not in the way that they actually used to be. So I think maybe then it's like okay, so the Earth has been destroyed. That's kind of that's already happened. So you can't prevent that, but then you can still save what's left of humanity. So I think that might be then. There's like some details I kind of like maybe slipped out of my mind, and then kind of did knock around a bit in the more quiet parts of my head and everything, so I just kind of needed like a bit of a refresher on that. So I think it was good to go back and catch those scenes out again. So the lighthouse has always been there, but now that same lighthouse is the one that we see the future humans accommodating and actually using, and the same one as the Kree too. So I think the lighthouse has always been there, and then humans being saved might be the extinction level event they have to prevent happening. So, or being destroyed even. So. So yeah, that stuff's cool. So yeah, and then I think back in the future now too. I think May and Enoch were on the surface, and they were captured by some people with really grabby claw hands and everything. And then that was later revealed to be what's left of Shield, or at least what's left of people who still believe in Shield, elders or otherwise. There's still people who are left. But then I think there was one older looking woman there who was then finally revealed to be Robin. She still has the bird all these years, all these years later. She still has that little bird that her father carved for her. So Robin is back, and I think she presumably must be an elder or like some kind of leader or something. So she is the one who found May and Enoch on the surface, and I think they're living on the Zephyr too, because I think there was that one column with the shield logo on it, and then May managed to identify the environment as the Zephyr. So somehow the Zephyr has survived all these years, and it's actually on the surface of the Earth, and shield people have been living on it, which I think is only really apt. Only shield people managing to find it and reaccommodate it even in these trying times. So that's cool. So now the Coulson and the rest of them have to reunite with them, and then Maka and Lena and Flynn have to help the humans on the lighthouse and get the weapons back and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. So we had some cool stuff with the Shield team. Nice little Easter egg with the Gravitonium making a return too. We had the Gravitonium that was revealed to be how the Kree control gravity on the lighthouse and everything. I think that they create and control artificial gravity using the Gravitonium, so that made like a neat little return from wherever they managed to pick that up from. So that was cool. The Kree too, Fornak, and I think his name was Mastundar. I think Fornak's personal bodyguard and hitman, the same way that Sinara was the personal bodyguard, is the personal bodyguard for Kasai's too. I think they're both dead. I think they launched out a hit from both of them to try and find the remaining Shield people, but then Fornak and Mastundar proved to be a bit too kind of aggravating and antagonizing for even Kasai and Sinara to have to deal with. So they equally kind of killed them both and everything, and now they've taken back power and taken back control and everything. So, and a bit of a history with Cassius too, like him having actually been in charge of like a war zone before, but then him being completely unprepared and untrained in that kind of aspect, and him not knowing how to deal with it. Like he kind of lost more than he could actually handle and lost more than he was given, and stuff really went bad, and he brought shame upon the family name and everything. So then he was banished, and all that kind of stuff happened, and to that day his family still holds it, like lords that failure of him and his brother more than most. So then he decided to take some very, very kind of familial revenge over his brother and killed him. So that happened. So now, yeah, I feel like now after all this has happened, like he's had to deal with killing his brother and trying to wipe out that kind of opposition and kind of torment over his head. And now the Shield team has escaped too, so now they're gone. So now he has to find them. So I feel like now going forward, we might have a bit more kind of unhinged Cassius and him kind of being not even like more dictatorial, but just him being a bit more ruthless and him being a bit more hands on, maybe, and him actually calling out more harsh punishments and more kind of authoritarian or like dictatorial kind of rule over the people, and actually making harsher rules and doing all that kind of stuff, and even maybe sending Sinara out some more to kill more people or capture more people or something. So things are about to get, I feel like things are about to get heavier from here on out. I definitely feel like things are about to get a bit heavier from here on out. So I guess we can see what happens. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from the last one. I feel like that's pretty much everything I've got covered anyway. And Fitz doing bits too. Fitz kind of making sure that everyone kind of was prepared from like him reuniting with them and everything. So he's been doing bits. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got from the last one. So on to episode number 8 of season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's go.
We survived the crash.
What crash?
Oh, this crash. Is this a flashback? May and Simmons are with her, but we know they were sent to the future. Oh, and the mother didn't make it. Polly didn't make it. Okay, wow. Oh, the Zephyr's just buried under so much debris. And it's still intact though. That is props to whoever built the Zephyr. It's still intact under all of this. Ah, and the daughter's here too. Yeah, mother, father, and daughter reunited.
It's good to see you.
crazy that Zephyr ended up on the last remaining chunk of Earth.
Yeah, must have been a
Sounds like destiny.
before it crashed.
Fitz, your design really withstood the test of time.
Oh, it was Fitz who designed it. Okay.
You designed this?
I definitely forgot that.
Damn.
I definitely forgot that, yeah. Okay, wow, I almost feel ashamed. Kind of feel ashamed of that. I've got to forget Fitz designed the Zephyr. Okay.
That Deke Shaw?
Deke Shaw.
Damn! He is gonna be so happy to see you.
Okay, oh, please let his dad survive.
It's the way we...
Reclaim our property. If not,
Oh, Christ.
at least we'll have a trophy.
Ugh. As expected, he's even worse after his triumphant uprisal over his brother.
We've been far too lenient with
Oh.
those who serve us.
Yep, he's gonna become even harsher. He's gonna get even harsher. They still drinking blood, or is this actual wine now?
They're punishing us for what you did.
You should be down with the other Inhumans. Where you belong.
Oh,
Turn
God.
yourself in.
You can't be here!
Hey! You don't want to go down this road.
So now the others are all turning on Flint, just like that, too.
She's the connection between the 2 points in time. This is our answer.
The problem is, for her, those two times are indistinguishable.
So how did she truly survive then? Because surely the Simmons and May stuff is jumbled up too. Yeah. Maybe she's confusing them with other people.
This is the day it all ends.
Oh, this is the day the Kree wipe out humanity, isn't it? It has to be. Because Cassius is pissed.
I didn't meet my dad until I was in my 20s, and all he really wanted to do was make up for lost time.
How'd that work out?
Bit of a rocky start, but we got there.
Could have gone better, but it wasn't terrible. Mind you, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible.
Owen put it together.
Owen?
Deke's old man. Tried to
Oh.
explain it to me a dozen times.
Oh, that's his name, Owen, then.
I don't think he could even get his own head around it.
So he built he built a portal connecting to the monolith, so he must be pretty gifted. Or pretty talented. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Really? You guys are gonna... Really? Hey, you know what? Again, like I said, back in season 3, have at it. You guys have earned it. All this time apart, finally some free space and time. Have at it. You know what? Have at it. Have at it. Imagine that, like... Actually, no, you know, I don't want to imagine that. No. I was going to say imagine procreating, you know, decades later than you might have intended to, but... Yeah.
Patience is a Chronicom's greatest tool.
And for those of us
Chronicom.
I apologize, I cannot be of more help.
And if we lose supplemental power, we lose
Oh,
time
flashback
control.
again, flashback
Kicking
again.
off a
With
series
Fitz
of
this time.
has
No, the
been
Lighthouse
affairs that
2022.
hang by a thread.
Oh, this is in 22. This is this year. This is this year. Oh.
But Robin said there's another way. She's been right about everything else, and for us to even have a chance, you and Simmons have to design the machine.
They have to
Okay,
build
so
a
we spent
time
decades on
machine.
the schematics. What happens when we don't finish the job?
Then we trust that someone else will carry on after us.
Yeah. Shotgun axe, reunite.
I don't get it.
Reunite with your
Doesn't the axe make it
baby.
harder to shoot?
It makes it easier to chop heads off.
I scouted the whole floor.
Because it means the Blue Man Group sent them somewhere else.
To the humans. Oh, to the other levels. Yeah, to the humans. Oh. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, those screams. Yeah.
The elevator.
Last time I saw this, it sent us to the future.
Is that a chunk of monolith?
The monolith.
That's a chunk of
Been there
monolith.
for a long time. But that's actually the only piece we've ever seen.
The others are out there somewhere. But Fitz and Simmons need to see this.
Keep an eye out for these. But how long has it been since they actually found this? Has it been like a year or 2 or something? How rarely, do they think they might find it?
Removing it requires sophisticated tools and a trained neurosurgeon, neither of which we have. Even
Oh,
if we did,
God.
the slightest error could paralyze you from the neck down.
Oh, God.
So
Wow.
Leave it alone then.
Where'd you find that?
Boss had it in his locker.
The
Wait.
survivors who believed in the prophecy held onto it for years.
Does Deke have more? Or does Deke know where they can get more? Oh, the monolith fits into the actual machine.
The shard fits into the machine right here.
Oh, that's how it
Maybe
connects to the
tells us
original
about the
piece.
monolith across time.
That's how it connects
This
to the
could be
bigger
our way
piece.
home.
If she helps us get home, maybe none of this ever happens.
You can prevent the Earth from being destroyed. You can prevent any of that stuff from ever happening, huh? Oh, yeah, that's one ugly ass space monster. Oh, there we oh, yeah, it took his legs off. Damn. Oh, yeah.
I get it now.
It works. Yeah.
We need their power generators, their water filtration.
Who cares what they're offering? It's not worth our freedom. We both know they want to enslave us.
Think about what
The
Robert
Kree?
What will happen if you fight?
She also predicted that we
The
would save
Kree?
the world. We changed her name. We whisper in the shadows. Whatever happened to S.H.I.E.L.D.?
We're doing the best we can.
Oh shit.
Flint.
So the Kree are here, or they're offering help?
Mac will help Flint.
Mac is gone. And he's never coming back.
What happened to Mac?
Please.
What happened to Mac?
Have faith.
I'm sorry, Melinda.
Oh.
But I stopped believing a long time ago.
Oh. That hits hard. Jeez, what happened to Mac? And Elena calling her Melinda? Losing faith? What is that time? The 2022, even.
Before the Blues exiled them, I begged him for that stupid rock so I'd have something to remember her by, and he said that he couldn't trust me with it.
You need to calm down.
No, you need to stop lying to me. So what the hell did you do to my father?
Oh, God. Oh, Voss, what did you do? What have you done? God, are we gonna have traitorous humans on the Zephyr too? Are we gonna have humans that believe in something else, or just wanna do their own shit on the Zephyr? Oh yeah. Oh, is she gonna just tear them apart? What's she gonna do? Or just was she attaching bombs to them? They're splinter bombs. They're splinter bombs. They're splinter bombs. Yeah, nice one, Fitzy boy, hooking them up with everything they could need.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Dial
Wow.
it back a notch, Pebbles.
Oh, Pebbles, all in due time. All cool nicknames come in due time. Yeah, now it's Pebbles.
Your dad would be glad you still have that.
Is that daylight outside? Is the sun still shining on the earth, even upon like a broken earth? Really?
What are we supposed to do? What should...
I've had my fair share of those conversations.
Oh no, Voss is here
There's
too. Oh,
important things
God.
to say, just doesn't always say them at the right time.
No, beware Voss. Beware of Voss, Daisy. Beware of Voss.
Let her rest.
No, what's Voss up to? Is he just kind of focused on war more than anything else? Is that what the issue is? He cares more about taking out the Kree than anything else. Oh, they've been locked in.
Gemma, did you lock the door?
No.
No. Voss locked the Voss. No, he closed the door. Voss closed the door. Voss locked them in. But why?
What's going on?
If you don't put up a fight, you don't have to die.
Oh, shit.
Must be strange for you to see the world like this after what happened.
That's a Quinjet.
That was the last time anyone saw Daisy Johnson alive.
Oh, were they after Daisy?
By all accounts, the city had been evacuated, no one there. Afterquake walked in, 12.8 on the Richter scale, and the world cracked like an egg.
Oh, God.
But when you look at this moment and all of the suffering that took place after, you can't help but wonder
Oh, no.
if it could have been prevented.
Oh, they're gonna try and kill Daisy.
She just described Gemma's death. Why don't you tell me how I'm supposed to live with that? We can't change time.
You don't know that.
Of course I do, because we've tried! For all I know, we've tried 1,000 times. Always ends the same. And every time Gemma dies, they all die. Robin can't change it. Even Daisy couldn't change it. She saw the aftermath, and she still destroyed the world.
Daisy! He has a knife.
Daisy. Oh, Voss has a knife.
It's your life for the lives of billions.
They think killing Daisy will stop her from going back and destroying everything. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, in the knee, in the leg even.
I can't have you give her the answers. I'm sorry. It's the only option I have.
Don't you dare kill Robin. Oh, God fucking damn it, Voss.
You're okay.
Robin. No, Robin. Robin. Oh.
We're gonna take care of you.
Oh.
I'm sorry. She's not here, but I'll stay with you.
You always promised you'd be here at the end.
Oh, she looked after all those years.
Mom.
Oh.
Everything all right, honey?
Can't sleep.
After all these years, actually getting to raise a little girl of her own. Oh, and May actually being a mom. May actually being a mom.
It's a lot to have going on in your head. We're special. Remember, we never have to say goodbye.
Oh, please don't say goodbye.
I raised you.
Oh, please don't say
After
goodbye.
my mother was gone, you weren't afraid of what I could do.
Mm. She has experience with Daisy.
You always said I had a gift.
She has experience with Daisy.
I'm supposed to tell you something. How you can get back home.
Oh,
That's right,
yeah.
but not today.
Not today.
It's too early.
The final day.
I still have an important job to do.
Oh.
Remind
Oh
me
boy.
You're needed for war.
What does May need to do? No, Robin. No, Robin, please don't die now. Please, please. More words, please. Come on.
Your vision of us saving the world.
Yeah, this is a lot of premonition talk right here for someone who's not meant to say
I've
it.
seen that vision.
This is a lot of premonition talk.
I'll stay until you fall asleep.
Oh God. Oh God, Mom. The mom. She's a mommy. She's a mommy. So Coulson wasn't even there, only May was there until the end. Oh gosh.
This is what she meant. The day it all ends.
And it's daylight now.
Who's first?
Oh, get the metrics out. Taking the metrics out. No more metrics. No more blues. No more reds. No more death. Nothing.
Yeah, I guess Voss didn't want any more of my family's blood on his hands.
Oh, he killed
Your
the
dad.
dad. He killed her. Oh,
Deke, I'm
oh
so sorry.
Deke. Oh. R.I.P. Robin. You made it this far. She made it so far. She made it so fucking far. Just goddamn Voss. Lock him up, throw away the key. That's it.
We can save everyone. Just one question, though. Who's Flint?
Oh, Flint is the key. Flint is the key. Flint is the key. Okay. That's interesting. How is Flint the key? He's a rock telepathic. Telekinetic even.
My orders.
Kill them all.
Follow the trail. Show no mercy.
Oh God. Yeah, fully unhinged. Fully unhinged now. God damn. God damn it. Wow. Wow, okay. This episode was a bit higher and a bit tenser than I was actually expecting, which I think is my mindful. I should never hold it. I think I'm slowly, I think I want to say learning, but I think it's probably better to say I'm slowly kind of learning, then forgetting, and then relearning again. That you should never hold expectations for an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, because it will never disappoint you, but it will just blow you away. It will just blow you away. It will either, really take you aback, or it will just completely hurricane level, just whoosh, and everything. So this one was definitely kind of like a whoa type episode, with certain aspects. So yeah, I think we really want to talk about those flashbacks to what seemed like 2022. So apparently this year for them, the Lighthouse in 2022. Because I think even like the present day for them, like from the diners perspective, I think that would have been like 2017, like 2016, 17, or something like 17 at least. I think at a push maybe going further back 16, but probably 2017. So fast forward a few years from there, you get 2022. So yeah, so this year at the Lighthouse, they so yeah, some stuff happened. So Robin was with Shield. Robin actually made it to Shield. I think they all. Eventually, I think they were always either on the Zephyr or the. I'm pretty sure that they were always either on the Zephyr or the Lighthouse. So yeah, they were always either there or the Lighthouse, and then the Lighthouse eventually came through. And then I think the first time they showed us the Lighthouse was when the Kree actually came too. So I think the Kree then came when humanity was still aware, and then when members of Shield were still around, when different members of Shield were still around and everything. So even the way the Kree came was like not really like in a surprising way, like they came aware of the chaos, they came aware of everything that happened, and they came under the pretense of actually wanting to help and wanting to take care of them and everything. But then even Elena knew deep down, oh, they're just going to enslave us, they're just going to, use us for their own entertainment and for their own kind of, whims and uses and all that kind of stuff. So she knew, but then I mean, eventually did go down that path. They did kind of eventually subjugate the humans and turn it into what we recognize as the Lighthouse now. But yeah, so damn. So Robin was with Shield. Robin was with Shield, and she was with Simmons and May to begin with. Like, so I think the people we saw were Elena, and then but then to begin, like we saw Elena once. I think we saw Elena once, and that was with her kind of actually refusing to have anything to do with May anymore, because then the Shield that they knew, the team they knew, the family they knew was gone, and then everything about them and what they fought for had changed. But then Simmons and May were with her in the Zephyr. I think the Zephyr crashed the first time, and she even told her. I think every time the Zephyr crashes, she like her being the seer, she knows, oh, don't worry, it's gonna crash. It might be a bit of a bumpy ride, but don't worry, we're gonna survive this one. We're gonna survive this one, so it's fine. But she was with the Shield team. She was with Simmons and May, and then Fitz was there too. Fitz was there, and then yes, I think stuff was happening, but I think the whole kind of the whole kind of premise there was that stuff was happening, like all these different kind of tragedies and all these different kind of scenarios, and all this chaos was unfolding. But Robin was the one key they had. Robin was the one advantage they had, because I think it might have been a mix of the two, because I think on the one hand they had the advantage of Robin seeing all these things happening before they happened, as she does, as being the seer does. Maybe in some way they still fail to prepare for it, or maybe they still somehow, because I think she sees things happen, but she doesn't see how they happen. Like she doesn't see what leads up to it. So I think even if Daisy apparently did destroy the world, then she doesn't see what leads up to that. She doesn't see how they can prevent it. All she knows is, oh, it happens. So because I think because of that, like even if they knew what the destination was, the journey was completely blank to them. They didn't know how to prepare for it, so then even the preparation they did do could have been very minimal, so then because of that they still suffered like a lot more blowback than they wanted or anticipated and everything, so there was that whole thing. But her mother didn't make it. Apparently Polly did not make it, so her mother didn't make it, and I think the way this episode took a knife and just kind of fiddled it into my heart, into my heartstrings, into my emotions and everything. So Robin essentially lost a mother in Polly. So RIP to Polly. Her being, I think she was already kind of pretty under-equipped to have to deal with powers like Robin's, and she did the best she could with Robin, but then I think with everything going on, with all the tragedy going on, I think she probably kind of got, died along with any destruction that happened or something, so RIP to Polly. But then Robin was essentially adopted by May. She was essentially adopted by May, and May took her under her wing. I think to begin with, we see May kind of taking her under her wing and taking care of her, keeping an eye on her, and actually kind of keeping her under her arm at all times and everything. And seeing that journey unfold too, I think May protecting Robin from any other kind of casualties or threats, or even actually protecting her from feeling uncomfortable. Is there she's always standing in front of Robin, actually putting like an arm in front of her, like a protective mother would, and everything. So seeing that kind of stuff build up over time, seeing her becoming more and more protective, more and more kind of comforting, more and more kind of more and more like a mother to Robin, was easily the biggest kind of preparation for the ultimate kind of loving and warm and kind of heartfelt gut punch right at the very end of the episode and everything. So yeah. But I think the problem with Robin was that over time, I wonder if it could have been exposure to being a seer. Like the longer she lived as a seer, the more her timeline stuff got jumbled up too. Because I think we never really saw that happening to her father. But then again, he didn't. I think with him, he literally didn't really live long enough to see that happen. I think the most he suffered from was actually being afraid of physical contact with another person because of what his powers were. But then we never really saw that. We never saw that. I think we saw people, like different people getting did he only ever touch Daisy? I don't think he actually. I don't know if he actually. I don't think he actually touched anyone else. No, I think he only ever actually had contact with Daisy, and then he unloaded all of those visions. I think he unloaded multiple visions onto her, but then none of them were in order. None of them actually kind of happened in order. I think she just got random visions of different kind of scenarios and stuff. So that was, I think that was the worst jumbling he got. But then because of how long she's been alive, how long she's been going through this, how long she's had these powers. Eventually, like, her mind alone, you know, despite her being inhuman, I think her mind alone, like, it is still kind of, you know, I think possibly too human to be able to fully handle her powers. And then because of that, overexposure to to these powers and to these abilities and to the continuous viewing of, you know, the future, and trying to remember the past at the same time, and even trying to process new stuff in the present too. I think all that kind of stuff, like all those like creating and accessing different memories and stuff like that, kind of results in her kind of having everything like her entire life kind of jumbled up too. And I think the story of Robin in that sense is so sad too. Like first she loses her father to those powers, and she inherits those powers from him, and then she can't even see or like interact with or even live with her mother in the same way anymore. Like she still lives with her obviously, but then she can't really interact with her in the same way, and she suffers like similar issues to her father in that sense. And over time, the rest of her life is literally spent dictating other people. So that like the rest of her life is literally spent actually drawing up pictures that dictate other people's and actually passing those messages on to them, being taken care of by Enoch, because then Enoch is around and he helps and he does what needs to be done. But besides from that, she doesn't. She literally. I think I think she was a child when she went through Genesis too. So she's had those powers since then. So since then, she's never had her own life. Since then, she has never had a childhood. She's never had her own life. She's never felt freedom, even from her own mind. Like she spent her entire life viewing being forced to view the future and then pass those messages on to the necessary people. But then she's never managed to live her own life, and then she loses her mother in 2022 as well. So. Poor Robin. Just put like Robin I think easily one of the saddest characters that this show has given us yet and everything. So just actually having to think about her life in that way. I mean, sure, she's helped a lot of people and actually helped prevent a lot of stuff, but then at the same time, it's like, you know, bad stuff has still happened, but she's been able to a lot of bad stuff has still happened, but then the only advantage is that she's actually been able to warn people ahead of time and maybe help them prepare in some way. So that's been the only very, very minute kind of plus side. But then for the most part, it's still been tragedy after tragedy that she herself can't even stop, and she herself can't even interfere with. Like she can only say, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, that's when that's, you know, when that goes down and everything. But other than that, she just has no other power to do anything or to help people. So, and she has no control over her own life, no control over her own mind, no control over her own self. Just wow. Yeah. And I think she kind of at one point she wanted the team to build her a time machine too. I think they talked about a time machine, and then they talked about how it was actually in one of Robin's prophecies and how it is what she told them to do. But then, you know, like Simmons saying it's impossible. They don't have the resources and they can't do it. And then even Fitz, I think even way back in season 3, Fitz was all about actually time being fixed and time travel not really being a real thing, and it not being like an actual kind of like that like you know, even in a science fiction show, time travel is the most science fiction thing that they can actually come across. It's just not possible. It's not the real thing. So, you know, that being his main issue, and I think back then he talked about how time travel itself wasn't even actually traveling through time, but it was actually because I think he even actually I think in his own sciencey way he explained how like time itself is actually, you know, like just stuff that exists on like a separate plane of on a separate dimensional plane that's inaccessible to humans directly. But then if you can access it in like a different way and you can maneuver that, then you can do it. And I think the way I think that's also like a very, very simplified way of it's a very simplified way of how I remember he explained it. But then I think even if I do even like try and think back to how he described it, I think what his explanation reminds me of. If anyone here has seen Interstellar, I think like towards the end of that movie when I can't even remember what Matthew McConaughey's character's name, he ejects from his craft, like he ejects from his space kind of shuttle thing, whatever. I don't know why I'm so bad at actually naming what the fuck he was flying in, but when he ejects from his thing, he I think it's like just about when he's entered. I think it's actually probably after he's entered the black hole, and then he ends up actually just flying through space. I think visually it's one of the most kind of ominous scenes I've ever seen. But then eventually he actually comes into contact with the Tesseract, like the entire the planetary Tesseract that humans from like a higher dimension built, and that Tesseract allowed him to travel back through time and send messages to his own daughter through those little kind of time waves and everything. Like he actually used those little time waves to implant little kind of Morse code ticks into that watch and everything. Like that planetary Tesseract thing actually allowed him to you know, to you know, very, very distantly, you know, interact with the past in order to send a message back. So I think that in itself, I think that wasn't time travel, but then that was still him accessing the past in order to send a message and everything, and then that whole planet kind of actually, like, that one Tesseract thing actually was built for him, specifically for him, by humans from the future, and I think it actually contained various different aspects and various different moments in time from his daughter's childhood, but then that's how he tried time travel. So I think the way that Fitz kind of talks about how distantly you can access time and how minutely how minimally you can access time in order to call it time travel, I think it reminds me of exactly what McConaughey did in that movie too. I think it's been a while since I've seen it a couple of times, and because it's just like a genuinely such a good movie. But I think even the last time I watched it was like right. I think probably halfway through lockdown in like 2020. I think halfway through lockdown I was just kind of going through the list of movies I hadn't seen in a while because of lockdown and everything. And I think I actually gave that another watch, but I think I haven't really touched it since then. So it's still been like a couple of years now. But yeah, so I think it reminds me of that. So now I wonder if they would do the same thing here, because I think in Endgame, I think even then, I think I think Tony did say that it was possible, but it was just really, really hard to achieve, and it was really hard to actually maneuver, probably, because then he even said that Scott got lucky. Scott got lucky with how he came out. Like, for him, it was 5 hours, and he came out 5 years later. But then, you know, he said Scott got lucky, and then there were like a ton of different variables to actually produce. I think even what Tony said back then was that it wasn't impossible, but just really, really hard to actually track onto accurately and do it in a way that you could actually you could get exactly where you needed to and all that kind of stuff. So then he did it too. I think in Endgame he did it with like a inversing the Mobius strip. I think he actually inverted like a Mobius strip, and then he actually ended up actually creating like those those little kind of watches that like a time GPS. I think it's for him, because I think the concept in Endgame was that using the quantum realm you could do it. You could always do it, but then navigating it was the actual tricky part. So actually making sure that, you know, where you actually where you entered and exited was actually where you wanted to enter and exit and everything. So I think he invented like a time GPS, so you could actually like you know, specifically pinpoint exactly where and when you wanted to travel through time to. And then I think even in real time too, because even in real time the actual duration of time travel would differ too, because then I think at the very end when Cap went back to do the stones, I think even Sam asked Professor Hulk, like, you know, like, how long would it take, and then Professor Hulk said, you know, for him as long as he needs, but then for us 5 minutes. So from the outside it would fly by just like that, because then even in real life, like, they went in and then they came back right back out again. But then from their perspectives in the quantum realm, you know, it would be as like as much time as they would need, and then when they were ready, they could do the thing, and then they would all it's essentially like joining some kind of like time travel lobby, like they all come back in when they all go in, but then they all come back out at the same time once they're ready. So I think that one, I think the Endgame one was kind of trippy to think about in terms of actual that kind of stuff. But then the stuff that they focused on was like, oh, if you do this and go back into the future and do that, go back into the past and then do that, it won't affect the main timeline. It'll just create like another timeline and all that kind of jibber jabber. So yeah, time travel. Yeah, so it's a really fun thing, huh? Really fun thing to try and wrap your head around. I feel like in real life, there can only be, like, I think people can have multiple theories, but then until proven, once proven, I feel like there obviously might only be one way to do it. If and when time travel is ever proven, if it's ever in our lifetimes, then, you know, hopefully one day we can get to experience it. But maybe one day, but I don't know. I feel like when it comes to pop culture and like movies and TV shows, I think they obviously have the creative liberty to do it however they want. But then, of course, to stay within some sense of the bounds of like realism, they do have to kind of actually try and they do still have to make it make sense. But then, because, you know, like, this stuff is movies and TV shows, they still have that kind of very obvious kind of creative liberty to actually twist it and contort it to however they want as well. Yeah, I think Endgame just didn't. I think Endgame tried, and the fact that not everyone got it, I feel like kind of means that they didn't do the best job. I think at the same time, I think for Endgame, it was for the sake of entertainment and not completely for the sake of logic. So I feel like because of that, there will be plot holes with Endgame's time travel, and there'll be some kind of glaring issues here and there as to what happens and what they do, and if this is the case, then why bother even doing it and everything. So hopefully Shield can at some point explain time travel just a little bit better. Hopefully Shield can actually explain time travel. I mean with Shield, I figure like I feel like they actually could do it, because again, I think with Endgame again, like that was like time travel was just one aspect of a story condensed down into 3 hours. I think with that, that's like, you know, like they chose to do it, but then I feel like I hope they chose to do it knowing that they only had 3 hours to really factor it into all the other stuff going on and everything. But with Endgame, I mean, with Shield, I feel like, you know, like with this season, they could easily just use this season to actually explain exactly how time travel would work for them, and how it would work and how it wouldn't work, and they'd have a lot more space and a lot more freedom to actually do it. So I think I do look forward to seeing how and when Agents of Shield actually eventually explains their version of time travel, and see if it's any simpler, see if it's any kind of easier or simpler to do, or something. But yeah, maybe. Anyway, that was essentially what Robin wanted them to do, to actually try and build a time machine. So I think maybe that could have. I mean, that may well have been linked to her knowing. I think it being a time machine, I think that would have been linked to her, because I think Owen was the one who built it. Owen was the one who actually built the portal connecting them to the monolith. And it was the exact same monolith that controlled time as well. The exact same monolith that controlled space and time. So. Knowing that, I think she must have figured that they would need that portal in order to come back in through to the future. So I think that's what she meant. Like they need to actually build a time machine that connects the monolith to the future, so that then the team can come back, but then they can actually eventually go back again. So I think that kind of stuff has to happen. So that's probably what she meant. But yeah, so I mean, the progression of scenes between Robin and May and Simmons and Fitz and Elena. I think again, Elena was there for like a little bit with the lighthouse stuff, and then she mentioned that Mac was gone, so something happened to Mac and he was gone. I mean, in that context, I'm pretty sure gone meant dead. So Mac died, and then, you know, Mac died, and I think that factored into like a whole bunch of other things, led to Elena eventually losing faith. She lost her faith. I think her faith has been one of her most kind of like a personal kind of experience and trait of hers that she has treasured and she's prized. Like she values her faith, and she uses that among other things to actually help her get through life and everything, which is like a fully respectable thing. But then, you know, stuff has happened to the point where she herself, like, even explicitly says that, you know, I lost faith a long time ago. So, you know, I think, I mean, it could mean like a number of different things too. I think especially with the fact that she even said, like, you know, like, what happened to Shield? What happened to Shield? Where did Shield go? Like, what happened to us? Like, we used to be so different, and now this is where things are at now. So I think she lost faith in the team. She lost faith in the family that she has. She lost faith in the world. She lost faith in almost everything else too. So, you know, stuff really happened that actually took Elena down like a few notches, and then she probably just disconnected from the team, and then focused on the lighthouse and trying to keep the humans alive under what she believed was the wrath of the Kree, which she was right about in that sense. So yeah, just damn, she really went through it. She went through it. One thing I'm wondering now, I think, you know, because again, this was meant to be the lighthouse in 2022, and even then, like, it was flashing us back to then, but then even like as the scenes progressed, it showed us that, you know, okay, like these who are like the people who are left, they've obviously been here for a while now, and the team that's left has been going through this stuff for a while, so it's been a while, so that means it's been built up over the years. But then we know from at least back in 2017, the team was taken out of the diner, sent into the future, and then, you know, bombarded with this whole new mystery, this whole new setting, all this new stuff to solve and everything. So that's made me wonder, right? What if? I think I don't even know if it would actually make any sense. I think again, like, it's one of those things that, like, in my mind it sounds okay and it sounds kind of, you know, discussable, but then actually saying it out loud kind of feels like, oh, if as soon as I say it out loud, I'm gonna kind of, you know, find out exactly how stupid it sounds, and it's not gonna make any sense. But then, what if the team is meant to go back in time and they're meant to experience all the stuff so it actually happens? I think they're sent forward in time to be completely blank slated by all of the stuff, and to be blinded to the stuff that happened, and then over time in the future, while they're in the future, over time they actually they start to pick up different pieces of the puzzle that inform them a little bit each time, whatever actually happened in the past. But then the flashbacks are showing what's still to come, so they still have to go back into the past and experience the 2022 flashbacks as they happen. So maybe that stuff is still yet to happen. So maybe then, you know, maybe then they go back with the knowledge, but then maybe they still can't stop it, or they still can't really do anything about it. Maybe that it's like, you know, I don't know. I mean, they don't know it's gonna happen. I think because they don't know it's gonna happen. Like we as the audience know because we as the audience have seen it. I think May is also the only other one who knows. I think she only knows that she raises Robin. May only knows that she raises Robin because then Robin told her that, so she knows that if she goes back, then she is to take Robin under her wing. She's meant to take Robin into her care and everything. So, but the rest of the team don't know what happens in the past. So then they come in, they find all this out. But then even once they go back without the knowledge of what really happens in the lead up to 2022. So then they go back and they end up creating those flashbacks that we see. So maybe that kind of stuff still has to happen. Again, saying out loud, I mean, okay, it doesn't sound, I mean, maybe it doesn't sound stupid, but it just sounds kind of, sounds wacky, sounds wild, but I guess that's exactly what the season is going for. It's not meant to make sense immediately. Maybe it actually doesn't even make sense maybe it doesn't even make sense until after you watch it like a couple more times, but still, it sounds, I mean, I think to me it makes sense because again they don't all know about it. Like they don't know that they want to go back to the future, but then they don't know for sure that they actually do go back to the future until they found all the missing pieces. And especially they don't know that they go back to a future that they've yet to create. They don't know that they're going back in time to their present only to create the future that we've already seen, where the Zephyr crashes and the Earth gets destroyed and the team becomes splintered and fractured, and then Robin is at the center of it all and everything. So I think they don't know all that kind of stuff. They've yet to actually go back and actually create to create that future and create that kind of time and create those memories and everything, and for May to actually create that Robin knowing, for May to create that future with Robin knowing that knowing that's like not only what she's meant to do, but then knowing that that's also what happens to, because I think that's not really a future that May would fight. I think, well, that aspect of the future is not something May would fight, like one where she kind of takes care of Robin and she has to look after Robin and she kind of makes sure that she's safe and loved and kept well and everything. So that kind of stuff. So I feel like maybe they could that be the way they're going? Because again, I think also maybe also the fact that they do still go back and then they recreate that kind of, and then they create that timeline, but then maybe in a different way. Because even then, like pretty much all the visions that Robin's father gave Daisy in that one, she got out of context. She got under a different context. I think she thought people would die in those, and then I mean some death did happen, but I think not exactly in the way that she envisioned it originally. So then she sort of discovered that Coulson wasn't shooting her in the window or anything, that he was actually shooting someone else, and that Fitz and Simmons holding hands and all sorts of other stuff was happening. So then maybe that timeline is still created, but then maybe under a different context, or maybe under different kinds of barriers or boundaries or something. So I don't know, but I feel like maybe the team still is destined to go back and create that timeline, but just maybe not in exactly the way that we pictured it. So yeah, like maybe they are still fighting some kind of I mean, they clearly are fighting some kind of unseen enemy or an unknown enemy, as of an enemy unbeknownst to us as of yet. So maybe that's the key. Because then the last footage of Daisy showed her yelling at someone, talking to someone in the Quinjet before she ran off, and then even Voss mentioned that that's the last known footage of Daisy Johnson that exists anywhere on Earth, on Earth kind of hard drives or storage or anything. So the last thing people saw of her was that she was talking to someone in the Quinjet, and then she was walking away with the gauntlets and her kind of Quake suit on hand and everything. And then later on, I think there was a 12.5 on the Richter scale, which I think that the Richter scale is what you actually measure kind of earthquake and stuff in. So I think 12.5 sounds mighty high. That sounds mighty high, and probably enough to shatter the world. Probably enough to actually shatter the world like an egg, like he described too. So yeah. Because again, it's I think for me, it might be becoming clearer and clearer of the fact that Daisy would not wipe out the Earth or destroy the Earth with any kind of malice, any kind of villainy, any sense of, not without knowing what she was doing, or maybe even not without thinking that might be the backlash. Because I think, again, destroying the Earth, that's a pretty big thing to do and a pretty consequential thing to do. So I feel like even if she knew that would happen, she and anyone who knew, I think if she was alone in it, she I feel like that would be like a mighty kind of decision to have to shoulder as well. Like she would do it knowing that anyone who survived, and anyone who saw that kind of stuff happening out of context, anyone who survived would surely blame her for years to come, which Voss and the others clearly did. Voss and the others clearly, did and everything. But if she was alone, especially, she would do it knowing that. She would do it knowing she'd have to shoulder that responsibility herself. Like, she would be the one solely responsible for shattering the Earth and destroying, pretty much any other chance of the kind of same amount of humanity actually being able to populate the planet or what was left of it for years to come. And knowing that she would be delegating all the humans down to the lighthouse for the years to come too, and also knowing that some people would not survive to make it to the lighthouse thing. If she did that, then there'd be many people all over the world who would actually die without any chance of finding shelter or any chance of actually being able to live to actually survive into the post-apocalypse or anything like that. So I think she would do it and know it. She would do it. She would not do it with an easy heart. She would not do it with an easy heart. She would not do it with an easy sense of mind. She'd do it knowing that, like, there's no other way. I think probably in like a similar way to Strange giving away the time stone. I mean, granted, Strange saw into the future and he knew what had to happen. Like, he knew he had to give it away. He knew they had to lose. He knew they had to lose to bring everyone back again later on. So he knew it, but then he still did it. But then I think with Daisy, I feel like, unless Daisy had any further contact with Robin, and maybe unless Robin explicitly gave her a thing, like maybe like, I don't know, story wise, would that make sense? I think like, if she told Daisy, like, you have to destroy the Earth so then we can get sent down to the lighthouse and someone else can survive, and then we have to get sent back, and cause that would just feel like the loopiest of time travel stories too, because then be like, oh, you have to destroy the Earth, and then everyone has to get sent down, and then and then the team has to. I mean, the team gets sent into the future. Then they learn very, very minimal details about all the stuff that's happening, and then they go back with less than they really came here with, and then they create this whole new timeline where you destroy the Earth, and then all this stuff happens, and it creates a whole new future. I think that just sounds like the loopiest of timelines, like the kind of like most mind-boggling things too. So I can't help but wonder maybe if before that footage, maybe if Daisy did really have some final contact with Robin, and Robin actually told her, you have maybe she told her to do something else, but then she warned her this will destroy the world. Maybe she told her like this, you need to do this, like this has to happen, but it will destroy the world. So maybe then destroying the world is actually like was the actual kind of blowback from trying to do something else. Maybe she had to destroy like another villain. Maybe she had to fight another villain on Earth, but then doing so, maybe like the combination of their powers, or maybe even like maybe the amount of power that she herself had to unleash would mean that she destroys the world, but then she actually defeats the villain in the process, and maybe that's the cost. So you destroy the villain, you prevent them from killing anyone else or causing any other more damage, but then in the process you yourself end up actually destroying the world, and then humanity is reduced to living in the lighthouse, and not everyone survives or anything. So then maybe even in her chance, maybe it was actually a case of like, oh, you let the villain go now, they'll just keep on slowly. Maybe like if you let the villain go now, like similar to how Voss said, oh, it's your life versus billions. If we kill you here and now, then you never go back and do what needs to be done. But then maybe on Daisy's end of the deal, maybe then it's the same thing for her. So then she either kills the villain here and now using her powers here and now, and then ends up destroying the Earth and maybe a few kind of thousands of people along with it, maybe a few 100,000 people along with it, or she keeps the Earth safe and keeps the Earth intact, but then the villain defeats her, and maybe just kind of gets away, and then maybe actually ends up, destroying more and more people slowly but surely, decimating the population along with them. So I don't know. I feel like that sounds like a more plausible theory too. So maybe she has to do something else that Robin tells her you must do this, but then the blowback is actually the Earth kind of gets destroyed, and then she has to live with that responsibility on top of everything else. And then but then so I wonder if maybe the Daisy who knows this in the future, maybe the Daisy who knows that she's then been dubbed as a destroyer of worlds, and she's known for destroying the Earth. Maybe if that Daisy has to go back, and then she gets the confirmation from Robin in the past, and she knows, oh, I have to do this now. Like she does this. No, maybe even if she actually doesn't, knowing that that's the reputation that she earns for herself in the future. I feel like that would be even harder to like knowing for sure that you're gonna get blamed endlessly for what happens because of stuff that you do without any other choice. Then damn, Daisy she just does not get the easiest rap. She does not get the easiest rap of things. So yeah, But unarguably the sweetest and softest and most loving thing this episode gave us, and also at the very end, the most gut punchiest kind of thing that the episode gave us was May and Robin. They gave us Momma May. they gave us Momma May. I think they've given us Momma May before. May being the Coulson and May obviously being the parents and being like the parents of the team, and May being like the mom, the mama to the bus kids essentially. Like we've had this kind of content before where like May has essentially guided and looked after and treated the bus kids as her kids, like she's watched over Fitz and Daisy and Simmons, and she's watched over them, and she's watched them grow and blossom into these incredibly talented and skilled and badass agents that flourished under hers and Coulson's leadership and everything. She's watched that happen, but it hits so much different, and arguably it hits so much worse when you see over time, I'll be in like a few scenes here and there, but then even the pacing and the duration of the scenes were pretty much pitch perfect. It is so much worse when you actually see over time, over the years leading up to this kind of world-ending devastation, you see her actively and enthusiastically taking Robin under her wing and actually raising her as her own little girl. And even that final scene, when they're in the room and Robin's like, "Hey mom," and then May responds in the softest voice you've probably ever. I think besides from the pre-Bahrain flashbacks we've seen her in from back last season, she responds in the softest voice that we've ever seen Melinda freaking May talking. She's like, "Yes, honey," like she actively talks to like an actual mother, not like her usual gruff May voice that we actually see her talking in from experience and from years of being like that. But then she actually responds in the softest, most loving, most motherly voice we've ever heard her talk in. She's actively she's actively taking care of Robin. She's actively kind of being soft with her and being open and caring and vulnerable around her. Because then after years of taking care of her, this is where it's led her. She's actively being a mother to her, and Robin is in the most carefree and in the most open way. She's actively referring to May as mom. May is essentially her mom now, so something I'm sure that Polly would have been more than happy with. I think Polly, knowing Polly, she would have likely died hoping that May would take care of her, and then that Robin would still have someone there, even though she'd miss her, but she should probably still want her to be taken care of and want her to be looked after. So May just mission freaking accomplished there. But then actually seeing May and Robin being so soft and just familial with each other after all all those years really kind of took a toll on them. But then in the end they were still there for each other, and even May assuring her, no matter what, I'll always be in your corner, I'll still be in your corner, I'll be behind you, I'll be taking care of you and everything. The fact that Robin at least grew up with that, but then the fact that Robin even in the midst of her powers, probably being at her peak during those years, like her powers being at her peak, actually making her see all these different things, because then she saw the Earth being destroyed, likely she saw the team being splintered, she saw Flint, she name dropped Flint like 50 years before he was even born, so she was name dropping him. She was calling all sorts of different stuff, and even actually sending Fitz on the kind of Fritz as well, with envisioning Gemma dying and envisioning all these different people dying and everything. In the midst of her powers being at their peak, she still had May. She still had May keeping her anchored, keeping her grounded, trying to keep her safe, trying to keep her well fed and taken care of, and actually being a mother and everything. And May got the chance to raise a little girl. You give me that and you expect me not to get emotional, then you're asking too much. You're asking way too much. That is the kind of shit I will love and adore and cherish out of this show. That's the kind of content I will adore and cherish and hold close to my heart. That's the kind of stuff I'm gonna remember about this show. Even if it's probably only in this season, that's the kind of stuff I'm gonna remember. That's the kind of stuff that they gave us, that after 4 seasons of May raising the bus kids and helping them grow on the ship and everything, they actually gave, even for a little while, they actually gave May a little girl to actually raise and to watch over as an actual fucking mother. Yeah. So because again, I think from what I remember before Bahrain tore both of them apart, Andrew and May did want kids. I think from what I remember, they did try for kids at different times. They did actively want children, but then Bahrain happened and May killed a child, and that kind of completely washed away any hopes or dreams she had of actually adding new members to their family with Andrew and everything. So then that kind of tore her apart, and then eventually they grew apart too much and they split. And then I think knowing May, she probably felt like she could never be. Knowing May, she probably felt like she could never be a mother anymore after what she did. After what she did, she probably felt like being a mother was something that she would never have the privilege of being or never deserve to be, because then no mother would ever, intentionally or knowingly kind of kill their kid and try and walk away from that and everything. So just God knows, like I think when you see this, you then start to think about the full extent of exactly what May might have gone through, like not just even killing a child in general, but then actually still wanting to actually start a family, but then she ends up actually killing one, actually ending a family in that very same day. So the fact that they still gave us to this, the fact that they still gave her this even in like a flashback, and I think stuff like this actually makes me hope that this timeline comes into fruition, but then hopefully maybe in like a less tragic way, or in like a less kind of damaging way, like maybe the Earth being destroyed isn't something that fully happens or anything, but then hopefully they can still go back and still experience at least the good parts, after all they've been through now, like in the future now, I feel like maybe actually going back just to create like a more positive and more wholesome kind of timeline is at the very least what they deserve. But seeing that kind of stuff unfold, just Melinda May having the chance in the past to be a mother in such a time of dire need and desperation, and in such a time where humanity is dwindling and kind of constantly kind of drifting between the lines of existence and chaos and everything. The fact that she got the chance to do that, I think it just means so much. It means so much to her character, to her story, and to the story of the show and everything. And again, I think it being a flashback too makes me all the more skeptical. Like how much of that could we see it, and also how much of that could we see come into actual fruition, and like how much of that could we actually kind of see becoming like an actual reality of theirs that they then go on to create after traveling back to the present and everything. So yeah, just the way May as a character handled that part of the story, the way that Ming-Na Wen actually as an actor handled that scene, to actually having to portray May having to come to terms with all this new information, actually dealing with that stuff too was really great. So just that ending as a whole, just a gut punch, just the emotional gut punch that I didn't ask for, but S.H.I.E.L.D. supposedly loves giving to me anyway. So it's great. I love emotions. Who doesn't love emotions? I love emotions. Yeah. So yeah. And I think one of the few things that she said before she died too was that this is the day it all ends. This is the day it all ends. I think we could even see that. I think we never saw again from the surface of the Earth, but I think we could see from the actual surface from the windows that that it was daylight now. So I think I'm really curious. I'm really curious what the surface of the Earth is like during daytime, because then obviously during nighttime it's a lot creepier. The nighttime, I think, real Nexians being the predators and the monsters they are, they may as well come out in the nighttime when things are darker and more ominous and it's hard to see, and then nighttime is prime hunting time for predators and everything. So obviously during the night, we've seen it during the night, it's really misty and really creepy and stuff, but then during the daylight, what is the surface of the Earth like? What is the surface of this new cracked and shattered Earth like during the frickin' daytime? I want to see the team going out in the daytime doing their thing, because then I feel like it being the daytime, I think logically speaking too, if you want to do any exploring, if you want to do any scavenging, if you want to do any hunting, if you want to do anything outside, then daytime, that's the prime time. So like the morning and the early afternoon, those are the prime hours of the day to actually do any of that stuff. So then I really do wonder if we can actually see the team going out during the day and doing their thing, because then, as proven by May and Enoch out in the open before they got captured by the team and everything, but by Voss and the others, it's very much breathable. Like you can very much kind of breathe the air, and it's still kind of somewhat like the environment is somewhat kind of, it's harsh, but the environment is somewhat tolerable. But then I wonder how different, because it's also windier too. It's also windier during the night. So I wonder if that changes during the day. Like I'm actually really curious to see if they actually let the team go out and try and look for something or try and do something during the day, just to see how different the kind of surface is during the day and everything. Because as soon as I saw that daylight, I was like, oh, the sun's actually shining upon this side of the Earth now. I mean, not that there really is any other side of the Earth for the sun to shine on. Because then, you know, like the Earth has very much clearly changed since it's been destroyed. So then maybe it's now just kind of floating lifelessly, and it's also maybe the Earth. I mean, does that mean the Earth also isn't rotating? Like, can the Earth still rotate? Because then, you know, I think the Earth either has a very distorted atmosphere because of like how it's shaped now, or it still has the same atmosphere, but just like it's covering a lot less ground. It's obviously covering a lot less ground than it used to, but then maybe it still has the same atmosphere, or maybe like a misshapen atmosphere, maybe. So maybe that's how they're still breathing. But then, does the Earth still turn? Like, does it still like turn on an axis? Like, does it still rotate on like an axis or something? So then, because then daylight coming in would imply that like the Earth rotating is what brings us night and day. So then, you know, like like the fact that we get that, you know, certain hours we get nighttime, and then we could come back to daylight, kind of implies that okay, the Earth is still rotating somewhat, and maybe we get like staggered day and night, or maybe we get like different hours, because then, you know, like only really one side of the Earth is still really kind of populatable or something. So I don't know, but either way, the fact that we got daylight through the window makes me want to see the Earth, did this new Earth under the daylight. So I do hope / wonder if we can get the team going out and trying to do something during those hours. So only time will tell. Only further progression into the season will tell. So maybe just maybe. But then yeah, she also I think she also mentioned to May that Flint was the key. She mentioned that Flint was the key. I think May said, "Who's Flint?" I think yeah, Cole. So yeah, the rest of the team would know. I think Daisy. I don't know if Daisy would know. Coulson would know. Coulson would know. The others wouldn't really. I think Deke might know. But Coulson would know. Coulson definitely. Deke maybe, but Coulson definitely. So Coulson would know who Flint was, and he would know that he's an Inhuman. He has the power to. Oh shit! I just oh wait. Flint. Flint has the power to move rocks with his mind. He can move, and especially the rubble inside the lighthouse, the rubble that he moved, that was Earth floating out in space. Don't tell me Flint is the key because he has to put the Earth back together. Tell me Flint isn't the key because he has to piece the Earth back together. He has to use his power. He has to maybe, we don't even know if he's that strong yet, but then maybe he has to, maybe he has to actually learn more about his powers through Elena and through Daisy perhaps too. Maybe they can both mentor him and actually learn him how to control and use his powers, but then, or amplifying his powers so he can control the bits of Earth out in space. Maybe he has to piece the Earth together. Oh god, I think that as soon as I mentioned Flint, I was about to mention like another Inhuman who's also telekinetic but with rocks. I think I mentioned that, but then in my head that kind of light bulb thing just happened. I was like, wait, he can move rocks. The Earth is right now nothing but rocks floating endlessly in space. I mean, they're not really even moving. Like, is it like gravity or anything isn't really kind of even gravity or anything isn't even actually pushing the rocks further out, but they're still within range wherein they can actually use the trawler to bring rocks back into place and actually slowly but surely piece them back together. I think Flint being what he is, Flint having the power and the kind of Inhuman power that he does, he can move rocks into place. And again, the rubble that they have in the lighthouse inside Grill's little kind of workstation place thing, that rubble is Earth. Like that rubble is bits of Earth that they've actually collected from outside that's still floating out there and everything. So maybe Flint might be the key because he can piece the Earth back together. I don't know. I mean, I don't even think that sounds far fetched. I feel like that actually might be what really happens. But then I don't know. I mean, because on the other hand, like I think I've been wondering, like, you know, like I've still been spending time wondering, like, you know, like is his power, like is his telekinesis really exclusive to rocks, or can he do other things too? Because then they haven't really made him try with anything else. Like so far, they've only really seen him move rocks and assumed that that might be it. But then I've been wondering, like, okay, maybe wait until he tries it with something else and see if he's actually exclusively a rock telekinetic, like an earth telekinetic, or maybe see if he's actually like a telekinetic in general or something. But then no, but now we don't even need to, now we don't need to know, but then in the future if he does still decide to experiment, then obviously that can happen. But now we know that Flint is the key because of what his powers are. He can move the earth back into play. He can piece the earth back together with enough time, maybe even like an amplifier of sorts of some kind. Because they built Daisy the Gauntlet. The Daisy's gauntlets help her hone her power. Daisy's gauntlets help her hone and focus and control her power. Like with her gauntlets, she can actually focus the power onto a target, and she can even actually control the power of her actual quaking things too. Like she can either send an enemy, she can either send an enemy toppling back into a wall, or she can actually bring like an entire building down, or apparently even shatter the earth apart. So maybe in that way, like Daisy and Flint are actually kind of like somewhat opposites of each other. So then she breaks the earth apart, and then he can bring it back into place again. Flint is the key because of that. Flint is the one who can actually Flint is the one who can rebuild their home. Flint is the one who can actually rebuild his home, their planet, and everything. And then hopefully, then they can either bury the Kree, or they can actually tell the Kree to piss off once and for all. Because now they've got an Inhuman on their side who can actually help save their home. So he's the key to saving them. So yeah, well, maybe then maybe then Daisy could still help, because maybe Daisy could still help actually bring the pieces back together and everything. So then once they're within range, they could he can then actually piece everything back together and actually rebuild the earth and do that kind of stuff. Or maybe like her quaking can still kind of like bond stuff or do so. I don't know. I think I want the rebuilding of Earth. Or at least I would like the rebuilding of Earth to be the cooperative efforts of Flint using his powers to save the world for the first time, and maybe even Daisy redeeming herself. Maybe even Daisy actually helping him and using her powers to actually help kind of keep the Earth together and to actually keep it stable and everything, and maybe actually doing that kind of thing. So only time will tell, but I would like for it to be a cooperative effort between them, of him saving it for the first time and her doing this thing, and her redeeming herself. But I guess we can see exactly how the story unfolds. But Flint is the key because he can piece the world back together again. So okay, so yeah, great. I'm glad I came up with that light bulb. I'm glad I had that light bulb. So that's why Flint is the key. So yeah. And one thing I probably should mention, I did mention in the review, but I'm going to mention it here and now again. I do in fact feel a slight tinge of embarrassment because I forgot that Fitz designed the Zephyr. I was wondering there, because looking at the Zephyr buried under all that debris and still being intact, and then even looking at the inside and seeing how inhabitable it was, I was like, I literally said out loud, oh wow, who designed the Zephyr? They did a really good job. It actually still, manages to survive under all this. And then even literally not minutes later, Simmons ever so kindly confirming for me, wow, Fitz, you really did a good job designing the Zephyr. It still stood the test of time. And I was like, oh my god, I forgot my boy Fitz actually designed the Zephyr. Damn. Okay, it's been a while since we've had the Zephyr. I think we had it from the beginning of season 3. So I think it's been a while now. So forgive me for not instantaneously remembering that one detail. But regardless, I think there was still joy in rediscovering that. So I think that can count for something. There was there was still some joy in rediscovering and remembering that Fitz was in fact the one who designed the Zephyr. So forgive me for forgetting, but then maybe celebrate me rediscovering. Maybe I don't know, but either way, it was still cool. It was still cool for them themselves to even actually kind of reinstate that Fitz did a great job engineering and designing the Zephyr and actually making sure that it would even withstand the weight of an apocalypse and the weight of like a world-ending event and everything. So. Props to Fitz for making sure that S.H.I.E.L.D. would still survive in that way at least. So that was cool. Not sure if we've actually heard it before. I think I don't remember hearing it in any previous episodes besides from his first name. But now this episode gave us confirmation that Deke is in fact Deke Shaw. Is Deke Shaw. His dad is Owen Shaw. Isn't that the dude from Fast and Furious? I just clocked that. I think I didn't even think to actually put the two names together until now. Owen Shaw. I think I'm pretty sure it's the guy. I think that's who. I think Luke Evans plays in the Fast and Furious movies. I'm pretty sure that's who he plays. I think Owen Shaw. So I think his dad is now a mercenary who went up against Vin Diesel or something. So that's cool. But yeah, Deke Shaw. I was about to say Duke Shaw. No, Deke Shaw. So there's him, and his dad was Owen. His dad was killed by Voss. His dad was, I think, for God knows why. I think, well, I think no, I think yeah, because I think Voss and his men kind of saw that footage, and I think they saw that footage, and I think over time they kind of pieced together different things that Robin had told them, and that I think in the end they deduced that, you know, like the SHIELD team would come here, including Daisy, the one who did all of this. So then I think they managed to deduce that, you know, if they sent her back, or if they even allowed her to go back, then she'd only end up going back to before all this stuff happened, but then only to make sure and to actually end up making all this stuff happen, and then she'd be the and then they were convinced that she was the reason they would lose their home, their families, everything they ever had, and everything. So then their idea was to lock Fitzsimmons away and probably end up killing them in time, then to kill Daisy, primarily to kill Daisy, because then that's why in the past Robin warned us as the audience, like, oh, watch out, Flint, watch out, he has a knife, Voss has a knife. So she was, you know, warning Daisy years before it happened that she would be killed by Voss. So and it sucks that Deke never actually got to reunite with his dad either, because I think he said he had a bit of some kind of, you know, some history and some beef with his dad and everything. So I mean, I wondered for a while, well, like, what that could have been, like, maybe if words were exchanged, or maybe if he actually did say some things, or did some things, but then he brought up the fact that he never supported his dad, or he never believed his dad for the things he did, because then first his mother was the SHIELD soothsayer and everything, but then after she was killed, then he picked up the torch, like he said, he picked up the torch and he carried on the fight for her. But then after losing his mother, Deke already kind of felt skeptical about his father doing anything in relation to SHIELD, so then I think he chastised his dad and berated him for it, and then after that, the last he saw of his dad was him being cut off to Earth and everything. So with his mother being killed, I actually am now wondering, I am now wondering if maybe she and maybe any others were actually killed directly in front of the humans on the lighthouse by Cassius, or maybe if I think the main death sentence seems to be sending someone to the surface, but then I think the other stuff is like renewals, and a life earned is a life kind of given, and a life earned, all that kind of crap. So yeah, I feel like the main kind of the more ominous death sentence is probably kind of sending someone to the surface, because then they're never seen again, and you only hear stories of what happens on the surface, and you only hear rumors and stuff, and that's enough to make anyone afraid. So I feel like the mother was killed more in like a more surefire way in front of the humans to set an example, but then the others were actually sent to the surface and left to fend for themselves and potentially die and everything. So his father was sent to service, and then as we know that his father survived with Voss and Robin and the others and everything. So there was that kind of stuff. And I think I had a theory last time that maybe Robin could be his mother or his grandmother or something. So I mean, that clearly wasn't true. That was, you know, more than debunked in this episode. So we can put that one to side. And I think I'm pretty sure no one even remembered that until I brought it up now. But still, that was false too. But then his father was at like a watchtower taking up. I mean, well, no, I mean, that was the lie. I think the watchtower stuff was a lie that Voss kind of created to hide the fact that he actually killed Owen. That he killed Deke's dad to try and get him back for what he did and everything. So I mean, I think he killed him. I mean, Owen was the one who built the portal. I think Owen built the portal that actually connected the monolith piece in the future to the one in the past. And then I think he was the one who actually brought them back into the future. And I think his portal helped bring them from the past into the future to make sure that they would actually be here to make all the stuff go down and everything. So I think then Voss and his men probably realised that, oh, like, if they come back here and now, they won't know what happened, but then they won't know what happened and who was responsible, but then they'll slowly start to pick up all these bits of info and all these bits of information that then lead them to kind of be curious and start to investigate everything, and then if they're sent back, then they'll only be going back to make sure that this future is created, and to make sure that we lose everything. Which I think, even from that line of logic, then I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't at least try and change it then. Like, I think the fact that they kill them here and now just means that this future is all the more certain then. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't I think, you know, because then if people from the past come to the future before the world-ending event that they're involved in happens, then surely that's your opportunity to try and change things and to try and actually convince them to change something, or to not do something, or to, you know, to actually not bring this timeline to fruition. But then if you kill them here and now, you're just all the more cementing the fact that this actually happens, and then you're changing the timeline. Well, you're changing the timeline. I mean, well, Well, actually, no, because no, I think it wouldn't. It probably wouldn't, because then I think they might. I mean, they might then know that if they're being brought back from the past, then they might know that they're being brought back from before the thing happens. So then they know that the team doesn't get sent back in order to do it. So then if they die here and now, they haven't done it yet. So then if they do go back after they come here, then they go back to make sure this happens. And if they die here and now, then this future gets erased, and then okay, well, but still, don't kill people. Just actually try and change it. Actually send them back, but then tell them not to do it. Or actually tell them to change whatever happens leading up to, or to actually prevent other stuff leading up to it and everything. So do like a saboteur thing, where it's like, you know, like it doesn't happen, or at least it does happen, but then in like a different way you think of it. So then tell them all the other major events and other kind of keystones that actually lead up to the big world-shattering event, the literal world-shattering event, but then tell them to change a few things leading up to it, and that way they know not to do this stuff, but then they also know to actually change the other stuff leading up to it too. I think killing them is just it's a needlessly violent kind of thing to do. And I don't think it reeks of vengeance and judgment, and then being like, you know, oh, you're the destroyer of worlds, and we're gonna destroy you to stop you from destroying the world. But how about you just tell them not to do, or to tell them to change the things leading up to it, so then maybe that way they know not to. That way they know what not to do besides from not destroying the world. So then yeah, just I don't know, but yeah, Voss and his men seemed pretty intent on locking Fitz and Simmons in, and then actually and then killing the others. So yeah, but then but then after that, his bright idea was, okay, I won't kill you, but I'll just kill someone else. So then in the end, he still wants to kill someone else, and in the end, he still wants to try and kill someone. So then in the end, he's like, you know, okay, I won't destroy I won't kill the destroyer, the destroyer of worlds, but then I'll just kill the person. He kills Robin because then she knows how to send them back, and she knows what to tell them in order for them to get back. So then he'll kill their key, or at least one of their keys into actually traveling back into the past and everything. So so yeah, Voss is just angry and looking for someone to blame, and he also has the manpower to actually try and take on the SHIELD team, to try and take on the SHIELD team. So he shot his shot. He shooted his shot. So yeah. So now it seems like this SHIELD team might be the only family Deke's really got left. So I'm really curious as to how he might progress into the season and progress into the story, kind of being bonded to them. Because now I think Owen, his father, was responsible for bringing the team, for designing the machine that actually brought them into the future. So he was responsible for his son meeting the SHIELD team and everything. So, but now Owen is dead. Voss killed him. So now he lost his mother and he lost his father, and he's probably not got any other ancestors with him. Or I think any other SHIELD ancestors that he had, any other ancestors or any other kind of, you know, people connecting him to SHIELD that he had would have been gone. So now is his chance to make some new connections with the new pre-existing and current kind of SHIELD team. So really curious as to how he might continue and how he might progress further into the story, into the season with the SHIELD team, and how he might kind of find his place with them. Because I feel like he, as a person, he might be sketchy and a bit kind of you know, skeptical, and like he might invoke a bit of skepticism as to who he is and what he really wants. But then I feel like, you know, like at most that's because of who he's been forced to become under the rule and under the observation of the Creed. It's who he and many others in the Lighthouse have been forced to become. So he really doesn't really know how to do anything that doesn't he doesn't really know much else about how to do anything besides for the sake of survival and for the sake of protection and all that kind of stuff. So so yeah, but now going forward, he can go forward with the team and actually help them defeat Cassius and the Kree, and he can help take back the Lighthouse, and they can help Mac and Lena and Flint do the same thing, and he can secure the safety and the future of the Earth and everything, and he can, you know, he can find his place within SHIELD, helping them save the world again. So I'm really curious as to how he might progress and how he might kind of continue being being with them, and hopefully eventually kind of, you know, elevate to being like an actual SHIELD team member and everything. So that should be fun. So yeah, Deke Shaw with SHIELD. Deke Shaw, Deke Shaw, potential agent of SHIELD. So here's to, you know, here's hoping. So yeah, and of course, gotta love Fitz and Simmons. I mean, we don't know that they hooked up. We really don't know that they hooked up, because I mean, obviously they didn't show it, but I think there was really no hint or sign. I mean, Because, I mean, back in season 3, we saw them fully jumping into bed, taking their jackets and their ties and shirts and everything. Like, we saw, like, that was the closest we got to, like, a hint of them actually, tying the knot that way for the first time. But with this is definitely just them kind of being like a bit more horny, and them actually taking advantage of the situation, and them, being like, just like this, just this room. Like they didn't even know that Voss had locked them in, but then it was like a semi good thing, because then they locked them in for the sake of them never getting out. So there's little to no chance of anyone else coming in from inside to let them out or anything. So there was that whole thing, and then there were literally two dudes stood out and watched them. If they did hook up, then I'm hoping those guys didn't really hear anything. But either way, no hints of anything that did happen or didn't happen. Just them. For all we know, they just made out. For all we know, they literally just kind of spent a little bit of time together, just making out and just kind of holding each other, and actually finally, the priority being them to actually finally getting some time alone to each other after so much time being apart, after years of being apart and everything. So they finally reunited across the stars, and now with them being on the Zephyr, their final reunion, their proper, actual, more kind of romantic reunion, actually being on Earth. Like they're back on Earth, they're back on the Zephyr, they're back at home in like a really twisted and really kind of ominous kind of way, and like a really kind of distorted kind of way, but they're back home, they're back on the Zephyr, back in a lab where they both shine, they both blossom in like a lab, surrounded by all this kind of sciencey stuff and everything. So now they're both back in their natural-ish kind of element, and then they finally turned on thanks to doing science and being alone. They're turned on thanks to being alone and doing science, but then also the realization of them being alone kind of hits them, and they're like, well, hey, we're all alone, we finally have this time and space to ourselves, so why not make the most of it? So yeah, and again, just, it's Fitz and Simmons. It is Fitz and Simmons. I will always, just be like, just have at it. You've earned this after even more years of being apart, after years of fighting to get back to each other and actually fighting any other kind of monsters and struggles that come your way. Have at it. You've earned it. Yet again, you've earned it. I mean, not that it's something they have to earn, but still, it's good to still see them being in touch with each other and actually still being, obviously still wanting to be with each other and everything. So Fitz and Simmons just, I mean, so long as they don't end up conceiving in the future, so long as they don't actually end up conceiving years ahead of when they're meant to, so long as I think if they did, I mean, they would definitely risk kind of conceiving their child years ahead of time. Like, I mean, because if they did, it would be like a Doctor Who thing. Like, it would be like a Doctor Who thing with Amy and Rory conceiving on the TARDIS, and then they end up having River, but then it's like it shifts through time a bit. Like literally while they're flying through the time vortex and on the TARDIS and everything, they're conceiving River, but then her timeline gets all fucked up, and then it's like the future and the past and all that kind of stuff converging. So then, I mean, that then makes you wonder, like, okay, so if the baby is then conceived in the future in 2091, but then they go back 70 years earlier, so then the baby's conceived in 2091, but then maybe, the child is born in 2017 or 2018 or 2019 or something, so, then it's like, so then the child's conceived, but then it's actually born 70 years later. That would be the greatest fucking mindfuck. And then you wonder how old the child really is, because then the child is born in 91, but then child is conceived in 2091, but then it's born in 18, and it's like, I don't know. But either way, if they did actually hook up in the lab in the future, then by some kind of miracle, hopefully they had protection. But then if not, then maybe like a little baby Fitzsimmons is on the way or something. So I don't know. But I mean, they're not even married. They literally just got engaged. I mean, I mean, it would not be odd. It would not be odd or even uncommon for a couple to actually be engaged and then to conceive or something. So maybe they then have a child before or after they get married. But then they still haven't gotten married. They haven't had a wedding yet. They haven't even had a wedding yet. So I think that stuff is still yet to come. So we have to wait and see when that actually happens, and if that happens this season or next season or something. So have to see when that takes place. But then, I mean, they could conceive and then have the wedding. They could. I mean, it's completely up to them. They're fictional characters. It's completely. I don't know why I'm debating when and how fictional characters can conceive or get married, but either way, fictional or not, it's completely up to them if they want to have it, if they want to make a baby before the wedding or after the wedding or something. But either way, it was a simple. I don't know why I'm blowing this out of proportion. It was a simpler scene. They kissed, they made out. That's probably all they did. So yeah, that's it. Fitzsimmons reunion. Fitzsimmons like a very, very romantic and a slightly more kind of steamy reunion on the Zephyr, as Fitzsimmons, you know, knowing Fitzsimmons as they would. So that was cool. That was fun. So that was that. But yeah, I think that sounds like everything I've covered. The future stuff, the flashback stuff to the Lighthouse in 2022, that stuff I've covered. I think we'll cover to the best of my ability. At least I think so. Feel free to let me know what you thought of the episode and what you thought of the twists and turns and reveals that this episode offered us, and what you think this episode took. I mean, Sonara now, I forgot to mention that Sonara, Cassius and Sonara have actually kind of, you know, forged a new plan, and I think Cassius is going to punish the humans in the lighthouse, and then Sonara's been tasked with actually hunting down the humans on the Zephyr and actually finding them and eliminating them, or possibly capturing them and then eliminating or doing some stuff. So yeah, they've come up with their own mission to actually punish the humans, and I think, yeah, as I feared, Cassius is going to become even more unhinged, and even more unhinged, and even more kind of, you know, punishment heavy and punishment focused and everything. So he's going to work on being that way. So now they've got, you know, I mean, now as expected for them, they now only anticipate Cassius and Sonara being a threat to them. So now they're fully prepared to try and handle them any way they can. But they don't know that Sonara is actually on the Quinjet, or on the surface of the Earth on the Quinjet, actually waiting to track them down and actually hunt them down and everything. So that they got to try and be ready to deal with them. So there's that whole thing. So yeah, I guess in time we'll see. In time we'll see exactly how that stuff goes down. So more unhinged Sonara and Cassius. So that should be fun. But yeah, that is pretty much everything I wanted to discuss. So yeah, that was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 8. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, then feel free to leave a like and comment whatever your thoughts are on this episode, and what you're looking forward to in the coming stuff, and any theories and thoughts you have. Feel free to leave them in the comments below. Full length reaction, as always, will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. That'll be just as much fun. And yeah, that is pretty much it for now. So until the next time, bye bye for now.